Alright people, let's start the day with some cyber news. So I just compiled the news from today. Today is the December 30, 2025, and let's see what happened in the world from a cyber perspective. As usual, I copy for you the stuff as we go. So I looked at the Hacker News. Here's the source for that. And here we have, I'm going to copy that for you so that you get an idea. There we go. So Trust Wallet Chrome extension breach caused 7 million crypto loss via malicious code. So it looks like there is a Chrome extension and that thing has an issue in its code. Which, what do they mean by loss? So obviously the extension made a transaction on the blockchain via Bitcoin and transacted the Bitcoins from one account to another, or from one address to another. Well, that's crypto, you guys. Let's see what we can find here. So I just copied that page here. Let's see what they write. So let's read a little bit of text to that. There we go, like this. So let's see what they have here. So Trust Wallet is urging users to update the Google Chrome extension. So 7 million loss. Yes, this issue multi-chain non-custodial cryptocurrency wallet Pacts 268. Yes, is a version. They have confirmed that 7 million is gone. According to details shared by Slow Mist, version malicious code that designed to iterate through all wallets, store the extension trigger and mnemonic passphrase request for each wallet. Okay, is then decrypted using the password. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to see. How did they do it? Okay, so then the mnemonic is then decrypted using this, and then once you have the passkey, you can do transactions yourself. So all these wallets, they once the password is gone, it's over. And then further analysis has revealed that the hackers have leveraged an open source full chain analytics library named PostHawk. This is what they used. Well, Bitcoin has been developed to get out of the fangs of the evil bankers. But what you have now is you are in the fangs of the evil hackers. Good job. Alright, what else is news? Let's remove this. The next what I have here is also from the Hacker News. China, or let me first copy before I read. There we go. So China linked evasive panda ran DNS poisoning campaign to deliver some malware. What do they say? A China-linked advanced persistent threat group has been attributed to a highly targeted cyber espionage campaign in which the adversary poisoned domain name systems, okay, so DNS, requests to deliver its signature MGBot backdoor in attacks targeting victims in Turkey, China and India. Yeah, poisoned DNA. We know that from the Mitra attack. Let's see, but check out Mitra attack for poisoned DNA, and then you know what to do about it. So here in this news it sounds like the hacker group is like they're evil and there's nothing you could do. Well, you can detect that kind of stuff, right? So you can detect DNS poisoning. Do it. Okay, what else is news? Fortinet. Alright, let's jump to the next page. So a lot of that stuff, you just go quickly through it. And I give you some perspective that I have. You always have the links here as well. So then Fortinet has an old vulnerability. And I asked myself, if it's so old, you guys, why don't you fix it? But let's read. So Fortinet warns of active exploitation of FortiOS operating system SSL VPN two-factor bypass vulnerability. So Fortinet on Wednesday said it observed recent abuse of a 5-year-old security flaw. Okay, oh, sorry, that didn't work. 5-year-old security flaw on the FortiSSL in the wild under certain configurations. The vulnerability is CVE CVScore 5.2, an improper authentication vulnerability in SSL FortiOS that could allow a user to log in successfully without being prompted for the second factor in the case of the username was changed. Okay, so that's like a vulnerability. Let me read what they, however, newly issued. All I want to know now is who's to blame for this. Okay, so let's copy a little bit of that stuff over here to have context and see if that helps. Here, with username sensitivity disabled, FortiGate was possible. As additional mitigation, it's worth considering removing the secondary LDAP group and so on. However, the newly issued guidance does not give any specifics on nature of the attack, exploiting the flaw, nor whether any of those incidents were successful. Fortinet has also advised impacted customers to contact its support team and reset all credentials if they find evidence of admin. Okay, got it. So here this can be detected as well. This is valid accounts. This is privileged account management. Okay, so even if you are affected by that breach, this is a good motivator to onboard some log sources here and to see these things in your SOC. What is the next news that we have? So there we go. 27 malicious NPM packages used as phishing infrastructure to steal login credentials. Okay, so NPM, that's the Linux distribution of software, pretty much one of the many. And cybersecurity researchers have disclosed details of what has been described as a sustained and targeted spear phishing campaign that has published over 2,000 packages. 1 dozen is 12, right? So it's 24 packages. Guys, stop using these antiquated numbering schemes. 2 dozen. Dear journalist, what's the name? Ravi Lex Shaman. Write 24 if it's over 24. Packages to the NPM registry to facilitate credential theft. Okay, so NPM. Oh, this was not what I wanted. NPM, so like this. So this is an NPM flaw. And now let me read on the next page here. The named packages are listed below. Yes, that's also maybe interesting for you guys. So the named packages, there we go, like this. These are some of the names. But if it affects you, check this out yourself, right? This, so, and then you have here even more. Where does it start? 22 there. So it's just a list of packages. Here they are. So first of all, the name of these packages is kind of even the name of these packages is already a little bit interesting, but okay. Sync 365 might be something. Now let's try to understand again. I mean, we see now what happened, but how did it happen? So let me copy a little bit of the text here for you guys and let's together understand what happened there. So rather than requiring users to install packages, the End Global campaign repurpose npm and package and so on, hosting using deliver client-side HTML. Okay, the use of packaged CDN offers benefits. Distribution, the package have been found to incorporate various checks and client-side analysis efforts and so on. Crucial anti-NAS control adopted by threat actors related use of honeypot form fields are hidden from view for real users by crawlers. Okay. So the package was simply malicious, but I don't quite understand how they did it. This campaign follows the same core playbook. Yeah, that's good. Let's take a look at this campaign follows some playbook. So I didn't understand yet what exactly went wrong here, but let's read. This campaign follows the same core playbook, but with different delivery mechanics. Instead of shipping minimal direct scripts, these packages deliver a self-contained browser-executed phishing flow as an embedded HTML and JavaScript bundle that runs when loaded in a page context. What's more, the phishing packages have been found to hardcode 25 email addresses in several cases. Okay, so what is the idea? Well, I get it now. Make sure that your administrators don't use NPM or any other software distribution systems to download malicious stuff. And how do you achieve that? Well, the least you can do is preventive, not possible, but in a detective manner. So onboard NPM to your SOC and let them monitor malicious packages. The other thing is introduce in your company, if this affects you, make sure that you check the hashes of the packages that you try to install. Well, that's the best I can give you to that. Let's get to the next news. Yes, the last one is related to MongoDB. So it's the last one from Hacker News, and then we move on to another. So here, let me copy that as well. There we go. There we go. So MongoDB vulnerability CVE is also there under active exploitation worldwide. So what happened? A recent disclosed security vulnerability in MongoDB has come under active exploitation in the wild with over 87,000 potentially susceptible instances identified. Okay, it has a CVE score of 8.7. Let me click on that real quick and we take a look at the CVE as well. Okay. Yeah, let me find the CVE on a proper website. I don't know why they don't do that. CVE and then yeah, I can't find it. At least not on a proper page. Yeah, anyway, so let's not look at this then. What else do we have on Mongo? What do they write? This one, yeah, let me look at the next page and give you some text. Let's read together what happened here on MongoDB, like this. So the affected logic returned some buffer size, okay, decompressed. Those are technicalities we don't, because the vulnerability is reachable prior to authentication and it does not require user interaction. Internet exposed MongoDB servers are at risk. Okay, so it's internet facing, you don't need authentication, and you can access here the memory heap, allowing undersized or malformed payloads to expose adjacent heap memory. It's a memory leak. So data from attack surface management company says how many are affected. 42% of cloud environments use MongoDB. Okay, and then you have some patch numbers here. And as temporary workaround, it's recommended to disable zlib compression and options. Okay, just a memory leak, but publicly facing. Do they say what CVE score it has? 8.7. Okay, so that's pretty high. But okay, that's MongoDB. Let's see what else we have. Now we are on the cyber news. So the hacker news is now done. We switch over to the cyber news, and here it looks a little bit different, but that's fine. That's fine. So like this, and like this. Okay, so Lithuanian hacker is extradited to South Korea for allegedly. That's always the thing. Allegedly, they don't know yet if he's really did it. Well, but that's what happens. Distributing Windows targeting KMS auto malware, infecting over 2 million. So it is distribution, not creation. The guy is it's just a poor guy distributing stuff. Infecting over 2 million users and siphoning 1.8 million from the cryptocurrency wallet. Well, again, cryptocurrency wallet. So I hope you get the idea by now what's happening here. So your wallet, a cryptocurrency, is bound to a password. If you lose that password, if somebody gets that password, they can send bitcoins or whatever other cryptocurrency you have from your address, from your wallet to somebody else's wallet. And since the whole stuff is anonymous, you know where the money went. That's not a problem. The blockchain is publicly visible, but you don't know who owns that other wallet. So I think crypto is a huge risk. So we don't have to continue reading here. It's the same thing that we had somewhere here. Let me jump. Yeah, same thing as we had here. The Trust wallet, same thing. Just a little bit other flavor. So recommendation here. Well, use crypto, but I don't. Okay, so that's the very simple recommendation here. As a person from cyber, I must tell you, I don't trust the whole crypto idea too much. Satoshi Nakamoto, who developed the thing, is nobody knows who this even is, and people apparently trust. Well, why? Because the banks on our world are even worse. That's the reason. Okay, when the main system we have, the fiat currency, is so highly inflated, well, of course people look for alternatives, but the alternative, as you see, isn't better. But okay, let's continue. What we have here. Data theft alert, insurer Aflac notifying millions of clients. Okay, data theft. Let's see what kind of data has been stolen and how. Okay, half a year after disclosing cybersecurity incident, a health and life insurer Aflac is now notifying roughly 22 million people that the personal data. Okay, and the problem, personal data that's hopefully only your email address, your phone number, hopefully, since it's a health insurer. They don't have your medical records usually. Yeah, so we talk about address, email address, phones, and so on. Was stolen from the system, so the result will be spam. Okay. Unable to determine the total amount. Its investigation is over. Now it's complete. Probe potential compromise begun. Affected individuals. The review. So as usual, they don't tell you what happened. Let's look at the second page. So how exactly can this insurer do a better job next time? That's what interests me the most. So let me copy real quick what happened there. I read ransomware a little bit, so let's see if that's the case. In another press release, Aflac says based on potential impact files, we have determined personal information, 22 million users. That's a whole lot. This will be now sold in the dark web, so you can threat intelligence people out there, you can go out and see what's the price for that. The stolen information: names, address, social security numbers, dates of birth, driver license, government ID, medical and health information, and other data. Well, that's heavy. Okay, that's heavy because that stuff can be used to impersonate somebody. So if you are affected, well, you can change your social security number, you can change your address, you can change a whole lot of that, but if you're affected, be aware you might be impersonated in the near future. Maybe you want to go, what do you want to do as a hacker with that information? I will go to your bank. Maybe I know where your bank is, so because you have to pay money to this and I would impersonate you. The bank at the phone will ask you for your birth date, and once they have it, they're happy. So I would call your bank as a hacker with this information and try to bring them to move money from one account to another. This is what I would try as a hacker. So call your bank if you are affected by this and let them know that your personal data have been compromised and that no bank transaction under no circumstances should happen via phone. Okay, that's the next plausible step. But there are more things for sure. Said it was providing 24 months free credit monitoring. Okay, health have been facing cybersecurity risks. Yeah, health insurers have been facing, everybody has been facing, Aflac, a firm offering incident and pet insurance plans to US Japan, said it wasn't aware of this customer being exposed. And then I read ransomware somewhere. Health insurers have been facing, Google warned right before scattered ransomware from insurance companies. Yeah, maybe it was ransomware. Okay, let's move to the next one. There's a guy who robbed Amazon apparently. Let's take a look at that. So here is the link. Okay, and then we just copy the text over here. There we go. So, following a former employer theft of company data, the Amazon of Korea is issuing 1.17 billion in vouchers to compensate its customers. So the biggest threat to data empire isn't always hackers, it's persons still wearing employee badge. So there's a guy working there to compensate after employees stole data affecting 33 million data amount of people. So the guy exfiltrated customer data. Coupang has a massive customer base. So it's Coupang. They said like Amazon of Korea, but it's Coupang. They should not use the word Amazon here. It just confuses. It's not Amazon that has been hacked. Base million active, often called Amazon of Korea. E-commerce in September had approximately a lot of revenue. And then they say, let's go to the next site here. They say it's an inside job. There we go. Okay, check out MitraAttack on insider threats. So there is also, as far as I know, the techniques, social engineering. So the perpetrator accessed data from a lot of users. The stolen data reportedly included customer histories, building access codes, showed no payment details were accessed. Okay. Well, that's because a typical employee doesn't access that, I guess. Incident response, Maintient was there, Palo Alto, Ernst & Young. Yeah, that's what happens, okay. But guys, you gotta bring some experts before the incident. Okay, that's the thing. So invest in your cybersecurity. So do background checks on your employees and stuff. Do privileged account management. Okay. Extracted. Investigators found a PC that used one of its hard drives. Investigators found the script used to access the data. Okay, just an inside threat. Alright, so nothing. That happens all the time, by the way, in any company. But I guess it needs to happen more times so that people finally wake up. So you gotta implement the zero trust principle on your employees as well. These are not your friends. So your employees are not your friends necessarily. That's the thing, as hard as it sounds. So what's here? Binance backed Trust Wallet hit by 7 million hack. Expert warns users. Okay, so let's read what it is. Another cryptocurrency hack. Another time somebody didn't protect the password. Let's see what this is. With online-based Trust Wallet backed by Binance already initiating the compensation process following a 7 million hack over Christmas, security experts remind users that many would be safer with hardware wallets. Yeah, you know what? Many would be safer. Wait, if they mean by hardware wallet, cash in your pocket, okay, then I agree. That's my hardware wallet, you know, cash in the pocket. Yeah, controversial take from people simply secure manage hot wallets, blah blah blah. Okay, some people don't know how to manage their keys. Of course they don't. Okay, you're not supposed to be a security expert to use a payment system. Okay, the provider needs to take care of that. In the case of cryptocurrency, you give a lot of responsibility in the hands of the users. Well, as it turns out, the users are not very responsible when it comes to cybersecurity. Big surprise. And that's why crypto is going to fail. It's never been successful. In my eyes, it's just a hype. But yeah, so as you can see, the news of today, they have a lot of crypto stuff going on. Okay, so let's copy this. Next news. Coupang founder Kim apologized for data leak. So that's now from Reuters. We moved to Reuters. We had Coupang already. I just want to show you different sources on the same topic, and that gives us a good view on what happened. And Reuters is, I think, one of the better cybersecurity. They're a bit slow. Okay, they don't catch as quick as the other websites, but so here founder Kim Bong apologizes for a first time data leak. So what is to be expected now? Well, Coupang should invest in cybersecurity a little more, and there are ways to do that. Have a SOC, have logging monitoring in place, have incident responses, have privilege access management, identity access management, have background checks on your employees. That's what you want, and then it should be fine. So employees will always be hacking you if they can make money with that. Alright, let's go to the next news. The next news, so we are doing some Reuters news now. And I find it, I'm not in the best mood going over news like this. That's how it is. So I have participated in several cyber incidents, also ransomware, and I can tell you that it's just not fun listening to these or participating in these things where people just get hacked and they feel like victims. And in that moment, you cannot tell them, guys, yes, you might be a victim, but what was your cybersecurity investment in the last 10 years? And that's the answer to their issue. Okay, that's the real answer to all issues. It's not about spending a lot of money on cybersecurity. That's not the point. It's spending enough. I mean, you wear seatbelts in your car for exactly that reason. Okay, what else do we have? So ServiceNow to buy Armis for a lot of money as AI-fueled cyber risk search. Well, Armis, just in case you not know, these people are is a log management security solution. So they are able to use OT, operational technology, analyze the data, and forward it in a proper way, potentially to a SOC. So Armis is just data management, pretty much. Um, Dealing with huge data, making sense out of it, detecting threats in the data. That's what Armis does. And ServiceNow, well, that's one of the biggest providers for software related to your IT in the company. So you do asset management with it, for example. And I think it's a good match. ServiceNow, Armis. Let's see what comes out of it. But Armis is hugely successful right now. So I have seen them in one or the other project in the past. And yeah, so they want to buy that. Um, Usually when things like this happen, uh, so yeah, so okay, then let's go to the next one. So Reuters is telling me to subscribe apparently to continue reading. Um, but okay, so let's see what they have here. So here we have China's Cashew shares fall to near 5-week low after live streaming cyber attack. So, and then let's see what the live streaming cyber attack is, if Reuters lets me. Okay, what is this? let's put it on the right side here. So Beijing share dropped 6%. Well, 6% is not that much. Okay, that's a typical, but okay, so there was a hacker attack after the Chinese short video platform was hit by a cyber attack. Okay, it's a video platform itself. The stock and then the closest rival to TikTok. It has initiated an emergency plan. The company has reported incidents to police. But what happened? Many users had been exposed to vulgar, violent, and other explicit live streaming content on the platform Monday night, which some as unprecedented. Okay, so there was some malicious content on the platform. Okay, live streaming platform, interesting. Good, not a big deal I would say, but that's what I found on Reuters. So now let's continue on with Security Week. What happened there? So Security Week also writes about vulnerability. That's a repetition, so we're not going to go into that. So again, Fortinet. I just want to repeat these things so that we know, this is what happened here. And also let's take a look at some of the text that security news have. So always use multiple sources, you guys. So if multiple sources report the same thing, then you can be sure that there is something. Okay, so again, LDAP, we have read that, two-factor authentication. FortiOS, there's some vulnerability, and you have the CVE score as well. Do they say what score it has? They don't. Okay, so this site doesn't care about the score so much, but it was 8.5, I think. Alright, what's the next news here? This now is again a repetition of Coupang from Security Week, but that's good. So let's take a look at this. So there we go. Coupang loses vouchers over data breach, and the text here goes like this. Just a little bit of the text. We don't need to read the whole thing. But again, 1.6 trillion compensation. The incident, November 18, they discovered that thing. Security Commission, former employee was responsible for the incident. So the thing is, was he still employed when he did it? Probably, right? Otherwise it would be a case of an employee leaves the company but the rights are not being revoked. But yeah, New Coupang says it's working on a compensation plan for a lot of individuals. Well, how can you compensate stolen data? I mean, it's a good idea, yes, but you should be smarter than that. But okay, that's another topic. So this company, just as a side note, Coupang will increase its security investments in the future. So they will be throwing money out with both hands. Okay, then repetition of Aflac data breaches. So let's copy that. So as you can see, this story, there's something behind it. Hackers stole name, address, social security numbers. So that I like. Security Week is naming what happened right in the headline. So there's no need to even go further. Good job. Aflac also should increase its security posture for sure. Every data breach, and this was ransomware in that case, well, that stuff can be mitigated for sure. So here we have again on Security Week the MongoDB. So the high severity flaw allows unauthenticated remote attackers to leak sensitive information from MongoDB servers. So this Ionut Agaya, this journalist, is doing a great job. So I see in the headline what happened, but still, let's go and read a little bit of the text at the MongoDB. Maybe we see in the wild. It's the same data that we have seen in the other article, so that's okay. let's move on. Great article anyways. So then we have some malware again. I think this is somewhat new. Malware and threats. Let's see what this is. Let me do the screenshot real quick. There we go. There we go. InfoStealer malware delivered an M-Editor supply chain attack. The download button on the official M-Editor website served a malicious installer. So how did that happen? So how can, and here's a logo for that tool as well. Let's add it here. There we go. So that's your M-Editor, and let's read a little bit deeper into this now. So here's a text, a popular text editor. There we go. So the popular text and code editing software M-Editor was recently targeted supply chain attack that resulted in distribution of InfoStealer malware. Okay, there's the developer, high performance Windows tools. In a security incident noticed official website, software developers warned that individuals who has downloaded using the download now button. How did the download now button get infiltrated like this? If you downloaded it from the download, so let me find the fake installer, the Chinese. Let me see, there was a company investigating that stuff. I want to understand how that happened. I didn't understand yet, or they didn't mention at least how something like this is even possible. It's an official website. M-Editor is not the malicious threat actor here. So the Chinese company Qiaxin has investigated attack, enterprises, organization, potential threat, editor, significant user base in China. Okay, so because it's in China, the hackers might be US hackers then. Showed that malicious MSE contains scripts. Okay, information browser firm pointed out checks the system. It's set to former Soviet countries or Iran. And it terminates if it's set to former Soviet countries or Iran. Interesting. Researchers also found that once it collects information, so they just describe how okay, so I don't quite understand by this description how it was done. It's called supply chain attack, but for me that doesn't quite answer how they did it, but that's the last sentence. Qiaxin has not shared any information on attribution, but his description suggests that the supply chain attack was conducted by profit-driven cybercriminals and not state-sponsored actors. Well, to me it doesn't look like that. So if they target China specifically, okay, so take that with a little bit of caution. Okay, so don't exclude state-sponsored actors that easily. However, the cybersecurity industry, and also why does it terminate when it finds Soviet Union there? So that's a profit-driven cybercriminal takes Russian money the same as Chinese money. So to me, this is indeed a state-sponsored actor, likely. Okay, people. So turn on your brain a little bit sometimes before making such claims. Then two threat actor categories are increasingly blurred. So they don't tell how it happened. They just tell you the what. They don't tell you the how yet. Okay, but that's something. Alright, what's next? So there's something going on with Nissan here. Let's take a look what happened to Nissan. Data breach. There we go. What happened? Nissan confirms impact from Red Hat data breach. So the personal information of 21,000 customers has been stolen after hackers compromised Red Hat's GitLab instances. Okay, interesting. Red Hat has been hacked. Very interesting. Let's read into this a little bit. Like this. There we go. So what do we have? Japanese car maker Nissan, and also Nissan is not doing well. Okay, they are really in a tough situation right now. This is not Toyota. Toyota is doing really well. The car sales are working. Nissan struggles, and there are even talks that the company merges with Mitsubishi or so, because they just cannot live on their own anymore. Mm. So companies like that being hit by cyber attacks, well, too bad. And Nissan doesn't have the spare money to invest like a lot in cybersecurity. They, their key value chain doesn't work these days. So that's sad. So this cyber attack might be the reason for Nissan going bankrupt. But okay, let's read. The disclosed data breach involving self-managed GitLab instances using by the Red Hat consulting team. Used by the Red Hat consulting team. Okay, so external consultants. Okay, so they will sue them then. The hacking group Crimson Collective. We have seen Crimson Collective in our Mitra Tech series. Claiming theft of 517 gigabytes. That's not so much. Compressed data from 28,000 repositories. Red Hat customers. Nissan now says that some of the data stolen from Red Hat includes personal information. Some of it includes personal information. The amount of data, 570 gigabytes, sounds a lot, but it's not. Data thefts, they go into terabytes. So that's just one hard drive they stole, okay? It's not that much. The personal information the car maker says includes names, address, phone. That's interesting here. Let's copy that too. So this is what they have. Same as with the bank. Okay, so these people affected now, they should be, Nissan will inform these people. But that's a classic data breach. No credit card data. Red Hat of incident on 3rd October. And only now it is in the news. Interesting. Received report from Red Hat that authorized access, automated translation, and so on. Okay. Okay, there's nothing more interesting, but okay. Nissan cybersecurity hack, data leak. What else do we have? That's the last one, you guys. So hacker claims code. What is this? Data breach again. So we get the idea of today. It's crypto, it's data breach, it's some vulnerabilities in software. That's what we see. What is this now? Hacker claims theft of 40 million Condé Nast. I don't know what Condé Nast is. We will learn that in a moment. Records after Wired data leak. A hacker named Lovely made public records representing Wired subscriber information. What is that, a Wired subscriber? Okay, what is that? I don't know what this Condé Nast is supposed to be. Never heard of that. Okay, let's see what we have here. So a hacker has leaked subscribers Wired from Wired magazine. Oh, Wired. Yeah, that one I know. Additional records and parent company is Condé Nast, but Wired is the magazine. Ah, okay. So the leaked information includes where is this? So the leaked information includes again names, email addresses, display names, date of birth, that's critical, phone number, genders. Well, gender doesn't matter, physical addresses, that matters, date of birth, as you can use to authenticate yourself via phone. Yeah, that's quite heavy what they did there. Okay, so and then it says the data breach was done by, let's read a little bit further into this. And also let's copy that. For some reason I did it like this. Yeah, so let's read like the last couple of sentences of that. Exposed wired data has been so wired data. I thought I read it literally, but wired, that's a big W, so that's really the company behind that. Okay. Added to the have I been pawned data. Okay. After leaking, Lovely claimed that they have 40 million records. Condé Nast Company, Vogue, Vanity, Glamour, The New Yorker, The New Yorker. Okay, it's in the Vogue area. The media company does not appear to have issued statement and so on. Breaches, Lovely November has been unsuccessful. Wow, cyber criminal trying to profit from the hack. I don't get it. DataBreach.net was contacted by Lovely in November, claiming they were a researcher who had been unsuccessfully attempting to notify about vulnerabilities in the system. It later turned out that Lovely was a cyber criminal trying to profit from the hack. Okay, these lovely people, they're quite smart, but that's what they are. Alright people, that's the cyber news that I have for today. So 45 minutes, that's what happened. So a lot of ransomware, data breaches, some vulnerabilities here, some former employees inside a data thread, and that's it. That's the cyber news for today, 30 December 2025. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned when it comes to cyber, and see you guys soon. Bye.